Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Bedtime Stories. Last time I saw you, we read a story about the winter wind coming in, blowing in, making everybody cold. The time before that, we read a story about animals going to sleep. This time, I'm going to combine the two together and read a story about the winter wind coming in and the farmers who have to put the whole farm to sleep for winter. And that's not just animals, because they're not going to sleep all winter. They're going to tuck them in, though. And it's also the plants, too. So let's see what we've got here. Sleep Tight Farm. A farm prepares for winter. By Eugenie Doyle, illustrated by Becca Stadtlander. The December days shorten and darken. We are busy putting the farm to bed. With our crops mostly in, strawberries, raspberries, vegetables, honey, and hay, now is the time to prepare for deep frost, the coming of wind and snow. Many hands make work light, Mom says. Means if everybody works together, it'll go faster. We shake straw over the berry plants to blanket them from winter's frosty bite. Next April and May, they'll leaf out green and blossom white, and in June, they'll give fruit so red and juicy we'll make jam and freeze berries to eat till summer comes again. We lick our lips remembering to you love fresh strawberries. I do too. They're one of my favorite foods. Good night, strawberries covered with straw. See you in the spring. We cut kale and chard and broccoli. We saw down tree-like Brussels sprout stems. We dig for the last carrots, beets, and potatoes to add to those stored in the barn. There they await winter markets and our own winter meals. Above, in the hayloft, a mountain of harvested hay bales stands ready to sell. The fields rest brown and bare. Dad tills and plants the cover of oats and rye to protect and replenish the fields that give us so much. Good night, fields, peaceful and still. Dad cuts back the raspberries before the wind and snow can crack the canes. We cart the old brush to burn. Goodbye to last year's twigs and leaves with their bugs and spots. The promise of late summer's plump fruit lies in roots tucked under the ground. Good night, raspberries, resting below. We stack wood by the house, and in the sugar house, too. It will heat our home all winter, and in early spring it will fuel fire that boils maple sap into syrup. Did you know they had to make maple syrup? By boiling the sap that comes out of the trees. Good night, stacked wood, waiting to work. Before the winter winds come howling, we secure the hoop house plastic sides with ropes and bales of hay. So the hoop house, it's a greenhouse. It keeps everything warm inside, but they better make sure it's tied down so it doesn't blow away. Inside, we float sheets of white cloth over the baby greens till the New Year's thaw. Safe under cover rest little leaves with mouth-filling names: spinach, mizuna, tatsoi, agrula. Our winter salad greens will nap till stronger sun can wake them. Last August, the hoop house grew so hot we rolled up the sides and flung open the doors while picking tomatoes, melons, and heat-loving okra. Now we button up the perfect shelter for changing weather. Good night, hoop house, wrapped up tight. We board up chinks in the chicken coop and set a timer to give the hens the light they need to lay eggs all winter. So keep those hens warm in there. We fluff their nests with hay, plug in the water heater, so the water doesn't freeze on the chickens, scoop fresh grain, collect the day's eggs and fragile gifts from our friends. Good night, chickens, snug in your coop. With bales of hay, we build a windbreak for the beehives and place a stone on each lid to hold it firm. We make the hive entrances smaller to keep the roaming field mice out. Don't want the mice to get the bees. Within each hive, a single queen bee lies in a cluster of maids working to keep her fed. In September, we harvested the honey and wax, but we left enough for the bees, who made enough for us. Good night, bees, sheltered and safe. The farm stand is stocked for the holidays with fresh eggs, greens, and roots. Onions, garlic braids, decorative corn, honey, maple syrup. There's plenty for us and plenty to sell. Mom and Dad move planter, cultivator, tiller, and baler into the equipment shed, a shelter from rust and cold. The tractors go in last. Good night, farm. Fire jumps in the wood stove. We feast on homegrown treats, vegetable soup, berry pie. We pull clinking lights from a box, untangle tangle to hang on the porch. Look, Mom says, the rising moon, the bright sway of stars in the sky. We light beeswax candles to soften the longest night. The farm is ready for down quilts of snow, the shh of the wind. Dad tucks us in. Good night, farmers. Sleep tight. Sleep tight, farm. Good night. You all tucked in like a farm now? Keep yourself warm? Tucked in for the winter? We're gonna go over the darkest time of year in the next few weeks. That's why we put the lights out. But I will see you again next year, next January. It'll still be winter then, but we'll be all tucked in warm like our sleep tight farm. So good night.